Hi. Sorry, I didn't recognize your name when you popped in the waiting room. So
Oh,
thank
you're good.
you for joining us. Just a quick opening question for you. You won the Homestead race last year, the second race that was held for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Just tell us a little bit about what you really like about racing in Homestead.
Yeah, to me, Homestead is just the perfect racetrack. There's a lot of tire fall off. There's multiple grooves. You obviously run right on the fence. You can run the dead bottom. You can run the middle. It has a lot of options. It also changes a lot. It reminds me a lot of just dirt racing because I feel like literally every 5 to 10 laps, it's constantly changing what groove's a little bit better. If your car is a little too tight or a little too loose as a driver, you can just do a lot at Homestead to kind of change the balance. You can try different lines and kind of do different things with the car. Just is a really, really well built racetrack. I wish we went there more than one time. It's just a great facility. And then, just like I said, it's a great racetrack. It's really the perfect racetrack, in my opinion.
All right. We'll now go to questions for Chase. If you have one, friendly reminder, just raise your hand within the Zoom platform. And to kick us off, we're going to go to Kelly Crandall. Go ahead, Kelly.
Thanks, Amanda. Hey, Chase. After the road course race, you had a really interesting quote about just how cup racing is no joke. And I know you had some issues with crash damage, and I think you had no steering. But in these 2 weeks, I know it's a little different than the, meat and potatoes of the schedule with it being a road course and super speedway. But what have these 2 weeks been like? Just jumping into the cup car, being around everybody, all of this racing, and just kind of getting up to speed with this new world.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing is just how many guys are competitive. The truck series and the Xfinity series, it seems like there's, almost 3 or 4 different races within the race, just in the equipment side of things. And, the Cup series, it's just very eye opening how good everybody is. And, just from a driver standpoint, everybody that's there, I'd say 90% of the field is all won their entire career. They're just good race car drivers. So that's been the biggest thing is just how hard you race for 20th versus, racing for the win and past series and things like that. And, I got a little bit of experience in the Cup series, this past week, getting to start up on the front row and kind of run up near the top 5 on that last couple of restarts. And, honestly, it felt like it was easier to race up there than it was for 20th to 25th. So I think that's been the biggest thing is just how many guys are just really, really good, how many cars are really good, and just everybody that's there is there for a reason. And that's been pretty eye opening to me is just how tough it is to gain track position. The Xfinity stuff, you could start in the back and you were going to be able to be up front fairly quickly. And the Cup series, there's still guys that can do that, but it's a lot tougher. So that's been the biggest thing. I would say it's been eye opening to me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Our next question is going to come from Lee Spencer. Go ahead, Lee.
Thank you. How are you doing, Chase?
Good. How are you?
Super. What's Johnny tried to do to keep your spirits up? I mean, we all know you're a hell of a racer, but the last couple of weeks have been trying to say the least. And what has Johnny done to just try to keep you pumped up and keep your spirits up going into Homestead?
Yeah, I think, the 500, to finish 19th, I think obviously wasn't what we were wanting, but for the day that we had, I think that was lucky. We were lucky to get out of there with the 19th with the kind of how our day went. And then the road course, truthfully, for how much damage we had, I felt like at the end, if I didn't get into the back of Denny, I could have probably ran 7th or 8th. So I know from a speed standpoint, I feel like we've been really strong. The road course is really the only time we've been able to even, kind of see where we stack up. But I felt like, we were able to drive from the back to the front a couple times or at least the tail end of the top 10. And, I feel like Johnny's been, still super pumped up. He's been kind of keeping me, I feel like just in the game as far as, telling me that like, for the amount of damage we had, we were still really, really good last week. We were still up in the mix there at the end. And I felt like last week was really our first attempt for me and Johnny to work together and actually make adjustments and do all these things. And I felt like he did a really, really good job of making our car better throughout the race. And even with the damage we had, I felt like it drove really, really good. And, I think we're both excited for this week. We're just trying to stay focused on continuing to just try to learn as much as we can about each other, learn kind of that notebook or build that notebook actually. This is going to be our first real test all year long of what we're going to do for the majority of the year. So I think, Johnny's done a good job of keeping me motivated and just telling me like, it's going to be hard at the beginning and we understand that there's going to be, challenges at the beginning and just learning curves to get over. And I think not only Johnny, but my entire team has done a really good job of understanding that it's going to take a little bit of time to consistently be running up front. And it's going to take time of, probably tearing up race cars and, just making mistakes to learn not to do those anymore. And that's been the big thing for me in the Cup Series, just in these first 2 weeks, is learning that you really have to take care of your race car, because with this body, that's something I haven't had the last 2 years. With the Xfinity car, we kind of beat it around a little bit and still be okay. Where on the Cup side, it really kills you. And, this week's going to be another example of that. So I don't know. I think we'll be good this week. I think, we just got to, we're starting 30th. So we need to just run the race in segments. And that's what Johnny and the engineers have kind of told me all week leading up to this is, we're starting 30th. Let's try to be by lap 20, in the top 20. And then lap 20 or, every pit stop, every restart, we just need to try to gain 2 or 3 spots. And by the end of the race, we're going to be up in the front, hopefully. So that's what we've kind of had in our game plan, I guess, going into this week. It's just a matter of executing it.
And Kevin has been a huge mentor to you as you came up through Xfinity. Has that dynamic changed since now you're directly competing against him, or are you still relying on Kevin for information?
No, I feel like, Kevin's still been nothing but great to me, and all the SHR teammates, whether it's Cole, Kevin, or Eric, have all been great. Daytona, I was using all of them quite a bit. Last week, I didn't use them as much just because I felt like that was going to be pretty similar to the Xfinity car. I still talked to Cole a little bit, but, Kevin has always been absolutely great to me. Anytime I have a question or, a concern or just anything, it's been a wide open door and a wide open book for me to be able to use. So it's been great to be able to have a resource like that. And I feel bad. I kind of wait till the race weekend to even go talk to him, just because I'm sure he's really busy in the week. And, I don't want to bother him. And that's a big thing for me, is I don't want to wear him out. And so I've kind of been waiting until the racetrack, which is, pretty late to go get answers, but he's just such a busy guy. And I don't want to wear him out during the middle of the week, but he's been great, so far through these first 2 weeks. And I'm sure as the year goes on, he's going to continue to be.
Super. Thanks for your time. And thank you, Amanda.
Yeah. Thank you, Lee.
All right. Our next question is going to come from Bob Pockris. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Chase, when your hood came up in front of your windshield last week, how much could you see? Was there any difficulty in seeing, and kind of, have you had that experience before?
Yeah, so I actually had a similar experience before. In 2018 in the Xfinity race at Bristol, my dash came up. The flat panel kind of above where our dash lays, but in the flat part, it flew up, and I drove around Bristol for probably, 20, 25 laps just by looking at the catch fence. That's all I could see. So I had a little bit of experience with it. But the hood deal, it was hard. It was easier than the dash, I felt like, but it was hard because all the power steering fluid, when I hit Denny, it sprayed up on the windshield. So that was the hardest part. I think the whole thing is I just couldn't see through the windshield itself. And then with the hood flying up, plus no power steering, it was kind of chaotic. And once the hood flew up, I knew our day was pretty much over. I'd ran one lap trying to see kind of where I could stack up, and then it got to where it was almost impossible to see. And then just the steering was getting so stiff, it was hard for me to do anything. But it was tough. But I was just trying to look out the left side and the right side, and I was the biggest thing is I was ducking my head so I could see below the hood a little bit. So it definitely wasn't easy and it wasn't ideal, but it was still doable. I think if I would have had power steering, I felt like I could have hung on quite a bit better, but that was the biggest thing, is just no power steering. It was really hard for me to do all the chicanes and whatnot.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Bob.
Okay. Our next question will come from Chase Holden. Go ahead, Chase.
What's up, Chase? Wanted to hit you up this morning pertaining a little bit to like odds on DraftKings. I'm looking around here, and in Xfinity Series, you had like a really good record, 3 top 10s. and then you had the win last season. So my main thing is they've got you set at plus 8,000, which is 80-1 odds to win this race, and you're favorably priced on DraftKings this week. Does that give you some extra motivation to really just kind of like get out there and just stick it to them?
I don't know. I think, no matter what the odds are, if it was, 3-1 or 100-1, I'm trying just as hard to win the race. But yeah, I do feel like Homestead's a great racetrack for me. I feel like, probably statistically, it's my best racetrack. So I'm hoping this week, we can go and have a good run. I think, winning the race is going to be tough, obviously, just, still being pretty early in this field. But I do feel like this is a place where, out of any racetrack on the schedule, I feel like this is the one place I really know what to look for in the car and can kind of, I feel like no matter what I have, I can make up for a little bit. And I feel like Homestead's one of those places where it seems like the guys that run good there typically always run good there. You look at Reddick, he was always really good there. And then in the Cup Series, it was no different. Kyle Larson, all those guys. So I'm confident going into this week just because I do feel like I understand how to get around the racetrack well. And, it'd be a nice lick for somebody if I did end up winning at 80-1. But it doesn't matter what the odds are. I'm going to try to win and do my best no matter what.
Heck yeah, man. Rip the top. Take it easy.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, our next question is going to come from Cole. Go ahead, Cole.
Amanda. Hey, Chase. Kind of going off Kelly's question a while back, are there certain concepts in these Cup cars or certain approaches to racing in the Cup Series that you're still trying to grasp as far as competition level or difficulty?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, like I was saying earlier I think it was Lee, just the Xfinity car, perfect example this weekend at Homestead, you could hit the fence a couple times and there's going to be no issues. The body just bounces right back. And the Cup Series, if it seems like if you just, literally scrape the thing, you're going to have a tire going down and it just kills your aero platform and everything else. So for me, looking back at Daytona last weekend, I felt like in the Xfinity car, I would have, early in the race, dove it in under Bubba like that. And, once I realized he was not going to give me the room, if I would have spun out, it would have been no problem. It wouldn't even really tore up the car. But then with this body, it just, it kills you. And I think just knowing that risk versus reward early in the race is something to definitely keep in mind, and something that in the past I haven't really had to worry about. And then it's going to be the exact same this weekend. I think, going back and watching video from the last couple Homestead races, the wall is going to be faster, but none of the Cup guys really run the wall until the last 30, 40 laps, just because it's not worth it up until that point. And, Reddick was able to run up front for a large majority of the race because he was willing to risk that. And, you see guys in the past, they'll be the fastest car all day long, and then they get in the wall one time and then their day's kind of over. So I think that's the biggest thing that's been a challenge for me, is just learning that risk versus reward. And not that you ride around, it's just knowing when to, try to push a little bit harder and maybe run closer to the wall, or, dive in under somebody with the chance of potentially damaging your car. And that's been something that's been hard for me, because in the past it's just go, if there's a hole, go for it. Where in the Cup Series, I think you kind of have to keep in mind, you need your car for the end of the race, and just every little dent or ding on it is really going to affect you from a balance standpoint and a speed standpoint.
Thank you. Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we're going to squeeze in one final question for Chase. We're going to go to Alex Andrea. Go ahead, Alex.
Hey, Chase. I'm hoping no one asked this yet because I joined a little bit late, but is Panda Express sponsoring you yet?
No, not that I'm aware of. They haven't reached out to do a gift card or anything. So I think my Panda days might be over for a little while, but yeah, nothing yet. And truthfully, the past 2 weeks I've went to Panda, I've had terrible luck in the race. So I better take a break for a little while.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask too, was like, how was that experience getting back in the car after eating that?
Yeah, I was all good on that side. I just feel like my luck's been terrible. Both times I've went now, I've crashed out in the race. So I better take a break from Panda for a little while.
Yeah, change up the restaurant options. All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Chase. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it, and we wish you the best of luck this weekend at Homestead.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.